Ladies and gentlemen, councillors all, hopefully you can hear me and the mic's working. No. Mics?
No, I can't see. Still 30. Still 30.
Okay, can you hear me now? Good. Welcome to the annual meeting of the council. And it's really good to see you all physically, in person. And boy, haven't some of us changed. I tried my suit on today. It's quite tight. But it is good to see you. May I first of all remind you of some of the domestic arrangements for tonight. Toilets are situated outside the meeting room. If the fire alarm should sound, please leave the meeting room by following the fire exit signs. Please switch off all mobile phones or turn them to silent. Please mark yourself as present on the moderngov.app if you haven't already done so. I believe you're all in now. Councillors should keep their face mask on unless they're speaking. If you wish to speak, please indicate to the chair and move to the vacant lectern. If you wish to just nominate or second a nomination without making a speech, please just raise your hand. Councillors should remain in their seats and observe the 2-metre social distancing rules. At the end of the meeting, please leave the meeting room as quickly as possible and do not congregate inside the meeting room. I'd like to remind everyone present that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. The whole of the meeting will be filmed, except where there are confidential or exempt items. If you make a representation to the meeting, you'll be deemed by the council to have consented to being filmed. By entering this meeting, you are also consenting to being filmed by the council and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting and/or training purposes. The council, members of the public and the press may record, film, photograph or broadcast this meeting when the public and press are not lawfully excluded. I wasn't expecting to make a speech, but I've just been told I have to do one, so I've quickly done one. Not that I need to write it down. I think at the end of the day, we all think these meetings run seamlessly and that actually being a chair, you just sit here and everything runs really well. It wouldn't be the case if it wasn't for the people that assist, us as councillors and also me as the chair. So the first person I'd like to thank is Pauline Taylor, who's the civic officer, who's now moved on to retirement. I wish her all the best. She's been absolutely outstanding in her role, and I'm sure that was the case for the chair people that actually preceded me. The other people are here, so they'll probably get embarrassed. So Emma Yule, Robert Carmichael, Jan Robertson, Mandy Smith. Thank you for all you do in the background. And again, it's really hard work because when things come up in council and I need the answers, these are the people that find those answers pretty quickly. So thank you for everything you've done for me. Of course, CEO doesn't get away with it. Thank you for your wise counsel, for keeping me on track. It is appreciated and was valuable. Thank you. Of course, I've got an excellent Vice Chair, Councillor Paul Ekpenyong, and I thank you for all your support this year and for standing in for me when I couldn't make certain events. Thank you very much. I wish I could have done more. Obviously, it's been a very, very strange year in which we've all had to sacrifice, not go out. As the chair, that's been really difficult because part of being the chairman is to actually go out and represent the Mid-Suffolk District Council whenever possible. And of course, I've been denied that this year. Having said that, we've still gone to lots of virtual events and they've been really interesting. And I think actually we've still spread the word that this is a great council doing great work and great people are behind it. So thank you for all that you've done. Also, thank you for helping me support the charity, which was the Stowmarket Dementia Action Group. Again, we've raised their profile, and I'd like to thank the councillors that helped me by using locality grants to help that particular charity throughout the year. It's very much appreciated, and your help went a long way to help people within the district. So thank you, and thank you individually to the councillors that actually helped me with the Christmas card appeal, where you helped put money into that account, and also for the people that want their houses taken photographs of by drones, which we will do now. We've got a sunny climate and we're allowed out the house. So thank you. Without you, groups like this, especially in the current climates, would suffer. Above all, though, I'd like to thank all of you individually for all the assistance you've given me, irrespective of party, side of the house, throughout the year, and for the way in which you've conducted yourselves during the council meetings that I've chaired. Thank you. You certainly set a professional image, and it's evident. You know, this is a serious council, and thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for allowing me to be your chairman. Okay, moving on. So can I move to the agenda, please? Please can I have nominations for the position of chairman of the council? Councillor Miller. Yes, you can.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me great pleasure to propose Councillor Paul Eppingham as chair of this council. I have known Councillor Eppingham for several years, and I've been very impressed on how he has dealt with issues not just on Mid Suffolk District Council, but Stowmarket Town Council also. Councillor Eppingham became the first Stowmarket Town Mayor to serve for a period of 18 months, a period which he served with distinction to all members of the public in Stowmarket, and which we were very grateful. Councillor Eppingham has also been able to use his extensive experience as a businessman to deal with difficult issues of council business. And I must admit, in all my times when I've sat on committees with Councillor Eppingham, I've always found his input extremely helpful and useful to council business. Thank you, Chair. Can I please ask for a seconder? Thank you.
Thank you. And would you like to speak as well? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I would just like to affirm the words of of my colleague, and I'm very happy to second Councillor Eppingham as chairman of this council. I have known him for probably about 6 years now, and Paul has always been fair, sensitive. He sees the small picture and the big picture, and he will be a wonderful chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Eburn. Yes, please do.
The role of the chair is a very important role, and I think it's one where you have to show complete and utter fairness to everybody within the council chamber, regardless of political party. It's an apolitical role, and the role is to represent the council and to be proud of everything that happens within Mid Suffolk and be a very good representative for all councillors, regardless of party. I think any of the councillors in this room would make a good chair, and I would be very happy to propose, or I am very happy to propose, Councillor Warboys. I think he would make an excellent chair, and he's shown in his commitment to the council to date how much he cares about Mid Suffolk and how he really values the opinions of everybody. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Eburn. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Field. Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Thank you. I'll now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. So we're going to vote for Councillor Paul Eppington first, and then we'll take a vote for Councillor Warboys second. So if you can all vote on the modern.gov app first for Councillor Paul Eppington. Thank you.
I don't see it. Okay.
Have you voted? Okay, can I take your vote verbally then, please? For or against? Thank you. Councillor Wellham? Would you like to place it verbally? It's fine, I can take your... Oh, it's just come through. Okay, that is 17 for and 17 against. Can we now vote for Councillor Warboys, please? That is 17-17. Would you like to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I will. I'll vote for Councillor Paul Eppington.
Chair, that is carried.
Thank you. I declare Councillor Eppington duly elected.
I, Councillor Paul Eppington, having been duly elected to the office of Chairman of Mid-Suffolk District Council, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake that in performing the functions of Chairman, I shall observe the Suffolk Local Code of Conduct as adopted by the Council. Firstly, I would like to thank Councillor Muller and Councillor Fleming for seconding me for the position of Chair of the Council. It was very humbling to hear their kind words. I also like to thank my fellow councillors for supporting me. I am truly honoured to be elected as Chairman. I would also like to give thanks and pay tribute to the outgoing Chair, Councillor Humphreys. He has tackled the role with military precision, as you would expect, and will be a hard act to follow. He has been an excellent chair and a credit to Mid Suffolk. He has had to chair the council through the most challenging and unprecedented times and has demonstrated real professionalism and commitment throughout his term of office. It has been a privilege to be his vice chair, so thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Paul.
When I was asked what charity I wished to support this year, there was no question in my mind as to which one it would be. The charity I have chosen to support is the East Anglian Children's Hospice. I have chosen this particular charity because of the work that they do, which strikes a very personal chord with my family, who have had to use the services of such an organization when our son was diagnosed with leukemia. Particularly important is that each offers families flexibility and control over where they receive their care and support, including where their child dies, at home, in hospital, or at one of their 3 hospices. With only a sixth of their income coming from statutory sources, each has a heavy reliance on fundraising. So I look to my fellow councillors to support me as much as they can to raise money for this worthwhile cause. Thank you all again for nominating me as chairman. I look forward to, and I'm very proud to be representing this council for the next municipal year, and will do so to the best of my judgment and ability. So thank you. I would now like to move to item 2 on the agenda. And this is the election of Vice Chairman of the Council. May I have nominations for Vice Chairman? Councillor Flatman?
Could I nominate, please, Councillor Babergh? And can I just have a quick word?
Beg your pardon?
Could I have a quick word?
Yes, please do. You don't have to go to the back one, Councillor. You can use this one here.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Barry Humphreys because he has shown, well, great leadership for this council over the past year in very, very difficult times. And I think it would be great if he could actually have a chance now to go out into the community now that we're all free. And I think he's going to be a great asset to Councillor Eppington. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor? Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Eburn? Do you wish to say anything, Councillor Eburn? Councillor? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Again, there will be 2 votes. So, councillors, if you can open the vote for Councillor Humphreys, that vote is now open. Thank you. Chair, that is a tie. So again, the vote is now open for Councillor Norris. If councillors could vote. Thank you. There might be a slight delay. It is there, it's coming through. It is, I think it's just delayed because I can see it. It should come through if you refresh.
Yeah, there we go.
I can actually see it on my system, so I think it is there. It's just slow coming, sorry. Yeah, it is. It should now be in blue. Chair, that is a tie. So would you like to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I would. And my vote is cast in favour of Councillor Humphreys.
Okay, that is then carried. Thank you.
Thank you. So I declare Councillor Barry Humphreys duly elected and invite Councillor Humphreys to sign and read the declaration of acceptance of office.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I, Councillor Barry Humphreys, having been duly elected to the office of Vice Chairman of Mid-Suffolk District Council, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake that in performing the functions of Vice Chairman, I shall observe the Suffolk Local Code of Conduct as adopted by the Council. Thank you.
Councillor Matheson. Okay, that's being addressed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Is it closer to it?
Do I need to sit a bit closer to the microphone? Bah. Okay. Is that better? Yes? Okay. Right, so we'll move to item 3 on the agenda. Apologies for absence.
Chair, everybody is present, so there are no apologies. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. Item number 4, declaration of interest by councillors. Are there any declarations of interest? Okay, there are none. So we will move to item 5 on the agenda, which is item MC/21/1, which is to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on March 25th, 2021 for accuracy only. I have already been notified of some typographical errors and an error with the name of the portfolio holder on pages 14, 15 and 16. These have been amended. Are there any more issues with the accuracy? Okay, in that case, can I have a proposer for the minutes? Thank you, Councillor Haddingham. And a seconder? Councillor Brewster. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. The vote is now open and showing in blue, so please can you vote? Thank you. We have 3 that have not come through. Councillor Guthrie, Councillor Wellham, Councillor Warboys. Have you voted and it's just slow? No. So would you like to make your vote verbally? Thank you. And Councillor Warboys? Would you like to make 4? Thank you. That chair is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's carried. So we'll move now to item 6, which is item MC/21/12/2, Chairman's announcement. I refer you to the paper, which is to be noted. And we're going to move on to item number 7, the leader's announcements. I would like to invite Councillor Morley to present her update, please.
Good evening, councillors. I would like to begin by saying how lovely it is to see you all again in the flesh after so long. I'm relieved to see you all safe and well after such a traumatic 14 months. Let me begin by being the first to congratulate you, Councillor Ekpenyong and Councillor Humphreys, on your election.
Councillor, could you put your microphone a bit closer to you? Thank you.
I would also like to thank you, Barry, for your sterling service to the Council during such an unusual year. And can I also begin by congratulating our various district councillors who have either retained or become county councillors in the last few weeks. Congratulations, and I know you will fly the flag for the residents of Mid-Suffolk within the County Council. And of course, congratulations to Councillor Hicks for being reconfirmed as leader of the Conservative group at Suffolk County Council. To Councillor Stringer, in a similar way as leader of the Green, Liberal Democrat and Independent group at the County Council. And also to Councillor Passmore for his re-election for his 3rd time as Police and Crime Commissioner for Suffolk. These are unfamiliar surroundings for us as a council meeting. I'm extremely grateful to our own officers and the staff at Worsted Park for making this possible and for ensuring we can continue to webcast our meetings. We usually only come here to Worsted Park for conferences and elections. I must, though, express my dismay that we're having to meet like this tonight. It should not have been necessary. It is a waste of public funding and, in my opinion, is not appropriate. It is fantastic to see the country and our district carefully unlocking from COVID, and so far being able to proceed smoothly along the government's roadmap. We are, though, still in a pandemic, and so I am hugely disappointed in the failure to understand the importance of local democracy and therefore to make a simple extension to the legislation that would have enabled this meeting to take place virtually. I know many of you have been personally shielding during lockdowns due to your own ill health or vulnerabilities, and I know that many of you have also caring responsibilities for loved ones in a similar position. I therefore apologise for putting you in such a difficult position by asking you and the public to attend this meeting tonight. Our response to the pandemic in quickly ensuring that local democracy could not just continue, but also to thrive online through virtual team meetings, webcast to YouTube, has been fantastic. It has strengthened and broadened access to local democracy at the most important time and enabled us to continue to function and deliver for all our residents throughout this difficult 14 months. We stand and have stood shoulder to shoulder with our local MPs and our health colleagues who are guiding us through this. We have, of course, put in place all the COVID-19 mitigations that you have become used to and would expect in order to keep you and the public safe. But that, of course, misses the point. We are responding to the government's call for evidence to not just make this point, but also to stress that the time has come for all local councils to have the power to choose how we meet, whether in person or online or in a hybrid manner, rather than being dictated to by Whitehall. My disappointment is even more acute in relation to this issue because I do have to update you this evening about our own COVID outbreak situation in mid-Suffolk. As you will be aware, there has recently been an outbreak at Wattisham Base. This has also extended into the neighbouring community, particularly around Needham Market. We have been working in conjunction with Public Health to establish a mobile testing unit on the car park of our former HQ site. And this has been in place since Saturday and will continue for at least the whole of this week. We will, of course, continue to keep our local residents and councillors supported and informed. Finally, I wasn't going to spend time tonight talking in detail about the year ahead, but I do want to thank all of the councillors who were able to take part in the workshops last week. I was really proud of the energy, passion and compassion expressed by all of our councillors. It was also great to hear so much agreement and commonality. Those workshops will help shape our actions and delivery over the next 12 to 24 months. However, there is still the opportunity to have your say. Any councillors who weren't able to attend or who wish to contribute their ideas and views in relation to any of the workshop themes that they weren't in can still do so. You have all received an email from Deborah Largent with a short form to complete. If you wish to submit your ideas, then please can I ask you to do so by the deadline of this Wednesday if you haven't already. Thank you very much, Chair.
Councillor Morley, are there any questions for Councillor Morley? Councillor Eburn.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Morley. If I may just as well add my congratulations as well to those Mid-Suffolk District Council members that were elected to the County Council. That's Councillors Hicks, Fleming and Gould, Councillors Otten and Scarf, and Councillors Stringer, Melham and Wellham. Could I ask, and also if I may, can I thank the election team here at Mid-Suffolk, who I think did a fantastic job under really difficult circumstances. So thank you for that. Could I ask, with regards to voting, Mid-Suffolk ran a postal vote campaign where we encouraged people of a certain age and with certain clinical issues to register for a postal vote so that they wouldn't miss out in terms of their democratic right. And could I ask whether such a campaign will continue and will be extended perhaps to other groups? Secondly, could I also ask, you mentioned, Councillor Morley, about sort of effectively lobbying for hybrid meetings and remote meetings. Could I ask if there's anything that we as councillors can do to add to that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Eburn. I can't answer your question about the postal voting. That's not within my remit, but I will ensure that the question gets answered outside this meeting. Sorry, just remind me what the other one was. Oh, lobbying. Yes, we are preparing a document and we will make it available for people to see before we submit it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Carter?
Yes, will that document will be able to add to it, our agreements as well, or will it be just submitted to council? Because I might be able to add some things from the savings with a view how the hybrid meetings would actually make this more accessible to the community and to disabled members as well.
I'll make sure that that's communicated outside this meeting.
Understood that this is an unexpected meeting to be held in this particular venue. I do have to admit some slight disappointment regards the inexplicability. The microphones being at that height, if I didn't have such a loud voice, I'd have a bit difficulty addressing the meeting. And also, on the unlikely to be the circumstance I have been led as chair, getting up on the menu, getting up on the stand there, that might be a bit entertaining, possibly two people lifting the other. So it's great disappointment that this is 2021 and we still aren't thinking regards a accessible council. So it could have been a bit more.
Thank you, Councillor Carter.
Well, Councillor Carter, if I may just say, in fact, you would have been able to use the lectern just to your left if you needed to. But I guess it's wonderful that you have such a loud voice and we can all hear you loud and clear. And there's also a remote mic which Henrietta's got at the back there. So if anyone does need a mic, she will bring it to you. Okay? You're welcome, Councillor. Okay, thank you, Councillor Morley. Right, we're now going to move to item number 8, which is designation of committees and joint committees. So we're going to look to appoint the following committees and joint committees. So these are Mid-Suffolk Overview and Scrutiny Committee, Development Control Committee A, Development Control Committee B, Planning Referrals Committee, Mid-Suffolk Licensing and Regulatory Committee, Joint Audit and Standards Committee, and Joint Appointments Committee. Could I have a proposer to appoint all the committees listed on the agenda? Councillor Caston, thank you. And can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Morley, thank you. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. Councillors, the vote is now open. If you'd like to place your vote, please. Thank you. Chair, that is unanimously for. Thank you.
Thank you. So that is carried. We'll now move on to item number 9. That's item MC/21/3, political balance and composition of committees. I refer you to Appendix B in the tabled papers. I would like to invite Emily Yule, Monitoring Officer, to introduce paper MC/21/3.
Councillors, I'm pleased to present the report which asks the Council to first agree the numerical allocations of seats, i.e. the political balance of the committees, and then to approve the couches contained in the tabled papers. We don't have any substitutes put forward, so it is just the substantive members of the committees that you're asked to approve this evening, and then substitutions will work in the normal way in accordance with the Constitution. Chair, I'm very happy to answer any questions and would look for a proposer and a seconder for the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Are there any questions? In which case, could I have a proposer, please? Councillor Morley, and could I have a seconder? Councillor Brewster. I would now like to ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now showing in blue if members would like to vote for, against or abstention. Thank you. Chair, we have a result. That is 33 for and 1 against. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and that is therefore carried. That takes us then to the next item on the agenda, which is item 10, election of chairs and vice chairs of committees. So we want to go to elect a chair and vice chair for the following committees and joint committees. So Mid-Suffolk Overview and Scrutiny Committee, Development Control Committee A, Development Control Committee B, Mid-Suffolk Licensing and Regulatory Committee, Joint Audit and Standards Committee, and finally the Joint Appointments Committee. May I have nominations for the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny Committee, please? Councillor Eburn.
Chair, I'd like to nominate Councillor Keith Welland, please.
Thank you. And could I have a seconder? Councillor Flatman? No, thank you. Are there any further nominations for chair of this committee? No. And then in which case, I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote.
Okay, thank you, Chair. That was, so if you could all vote for Councillor Wellham for, against or abstention. Thank you. A bit slow coming through, but it will be there. Councillor Phillips, are you able to vote? No, would you like to place that verbally? Would you like to vote verbally? Thank you. And Councillor Stringer, are you? Okay. So, Chair, that is unanimously for.
Thank you very much. So, Councillor Wellham is duly appointed Chair of Overview and Scrutiny Committee. So, may I now have nominations for the Vice Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee? If I could have a proposer. Councillor Haddingham. Thank you. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Flatman. Thank you. And do we have any other further nominations? Councillor Eburn? Okay. And do you have a seconder for that? Councillor Field? Thank you. Okay. Are there any other nominations? No? Okay. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote.
So again, councillors, we have 2 votes. So the first vote will be for Councillor Caston. So if you could place your votes now, that the vote is now open. Thank you. So, Chair, that is 16, 16 votes against and 18 for. So we don't need to go to the second vote because that is carried on that.
Thank you very much. Therefore, Councillor Caston is duly appointed Vice Chair of Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Well done, Councillor. Okay, so we'll move on to the next committee, which is Development Control Committee A. May I have nominations for the chair of that committee, please? Councillor Guthrie? Yes. Councillor Hicks? And Councillor Haddingham, are you seconding? Thank you very much. Are there any other further nominations? Councillor Eburn? And do you have a seconder for that? Councillor? Thank you. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
So again, Chair, there will be 2 votes. So we're going to vote for Councillor Hicks first, please. Chair, that is a tie, so we will do the second vote for Councillor Mansell, which is now open. Chair, again, that is a tie, so would you like to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I will, and I will cast my vote in favour of.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Sarah Mansell, and I do feel that it is such a committee as this where it is supposedly non-political, then I think having a chair from, sharing responsibility across the council would be very positive, and I think Sarah Mansell has exceptional skills on the planning committee and has served us well, the whole council well. Thank you, Chair.
I have a seconder. Councillor Field. Thank you. Are there any further nominations? I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Again, there are 2 votes. The vote for Councillor Muller is now open if councillors would like to cast their vote. Thank you. Councillor Scarf, are you having problems? Would you like to place yours verbally? So would you like to place it verbally? Against. Okay, Chair. The results of the voting are 18 for and 16 against. So we don't need to do the second vote for that. That is carried.
Okay, so therefore, Councillor Muller is duly appointed the Vice Chair of Development Control Committee A. So may I have nominations for the Chair of Development Control Committee B, please? Councillor Byrne? Thank you. And do we have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Flatman? Okay. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Eburn? Okay. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Field? Thank you. Okay. There not being any further nominations, I will now ask the Corporate Manager Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote. Thank you.
Again, Chair, there will be two votes. So, Councillor, the vote for Councillor Guthrie will be the first vote. So, and is now in progress. Thank you. Showing up. Okay, I will take this. My actual screen is hanging at the moment, so I can't update anything.
Okay, we're in business.
Yeah, it's coming up now. Sorry. It's just been really slow. Okay, Councillor Scarf, can I take yours against? Okay, Chair, so that is a tie again, so we will do the second vote for Councillor Warboys this time, please.
Okay.
So if councillors would like to go to the vote, it should now be showing in blue. That again is a tie, so would you like to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I would, and I cast my vote in favour of Councillor Guthrie, who is duly appointed Chair of Development Control B, Committee B. May I have nominations for the Vice Chair of Development Control Committee B, please? Could I have a proposer? Councillor Muller? And seconder? Councillor Haddingham? Yep. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Eburn? Okay. Councillor, you seconding? Thank you. I would like to now ask the Corporate Manager for Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
So, thank you, Chair. The vote for Councillor Humphreys is now open if you'd like to cast your votes. Sir Pratt, are you having problems? Oh, you voted. Sorry, it's just come through. Okay, Chair, that is another tie, so we need to vote for Councillor Warboys, please.
Okay.
That vote is now open. The Geek, are you able to vote, or is it just taking its time? Okay, Chair, that is a tie as well. So are you wanting to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I will, and I will exercise my vote in favour of Councillor Humphreys. And so Councillor Humphreys duly appointed Vice Chair of Development Control Committee B. May I have nominations for the Chair of Licensing and Regulatory Committee? Could I have a proposer, please? Councillor Fleming? A seconder? Councillor Haddingham? Okay. Any other nominations? Councillor Eburn? A seconder? Thank you, Councillor Field. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. So we, again, two votes. The vote for Councillor Guthrie is now open if councillors would like to cast their vote. Thank you. Councillor Turner, are you able to vote? That's fine. Chair, that is a tie, so we will do the vote now for Councillor Otten.
Okay.
Councillor Geek, sorry, we don't seem to have your vote. Have you voted, or is it just slow coming through? Chair, that is a tie. Again, do you wish to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I do, and that will be in favour of Councillor Guthrie. And so Councillor Guthrie is duly appointed Chair of Licensing and Regulatory Committee. May I have nominations for the Vice Chair of Licensing and Regulatory Committee, please? Could I have a proposer? Councillor Byrne? Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Muller? Councillor Brewster, thank you. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Councillor Eburn? Thank you. And Councillor Field seconding? Thank you. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Again, Chair, it will be 2 votes. The vote for Councillor Muller is now open if you would place your votes. Thank you. Eburn, are you having problems, or is it just slow coming through? It's done, okay. Just slow coming through. And Councillor Carter, have you managed to vote, or is it just slow coming through? Okay, I'll wait another couple of seconds. Councillor Carter, it doesn't seem to register, so can I take your vote verbally, please? Thank you. Chair, that is a tie, so we will need to go to the second vote for Councillor Otten.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. So that vote is now open, councillors, if you'd like to place your vote. Councillor Brewster, are you having problems or have you voted? Should be through, thank you.
A question?
And Councillor Matheson, are you having problems or is it just... Okay, can I take your vote manually then? Okay, thank you. Chair, that is a tie again. So again, will you exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I will, and I will exercise it in favour of Councillor Muller. And so Councillor Muller is duly appointed Vice Chair of Licensing and Regulatory Committee. May I have nominations for the co-chair of Joint Audit and Standards Committee? Could I have a proposer? Councillor Eburn. Thank you. And we have a seconder for that. Thank you, Councillor Field. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Haddingham? Councillor? Okay. A seconder? Councillor Fleming. Thank you. Right. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Again, it will be 2 votes. The vote for Councillor Warboys is now open. Thank you. Are you able to vote? Because no. Yeah, it's not. It does. It's coming up. It's just come up. Yeah. Sorry, it seems to be a bit of a time lag. Mr. Warboys, are you able to vote? Is it coming through? Chair, that is a tie, so we will go to the second vote for Councillor Muller.
Please proceed.
Vote is now in progress. Thank you. Matheson, are you able to vote? Councillor, it still hasn't come through, so can I take it verbally, please? It should come through, okay. Chair, that is, again is a tie. So do you wish to cast your casting vote?
Yes, I do, and that will be in favour of Councillor Muller. So Councillor Muller is duly appointed co-chair of the Joint Audit and Standards Committee. May I have nominations for the co-chair of Joint Appointments Committee? Is that right? No, not the one, yes. Can I have a proposer for that, please? Councillor Brewster? I'm sorry, I can't. Who are you proposing? Okay, thank you. We have a seconder? Councillor Caston, thank you. Are there any other nominations? If not, then Councillor Morley is duly elected for that post. I beg your pardon? Sorry, I can't hear.
We have to vote, Chair, on the...
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Sorry.
Okay, right. So I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now open if councillors would like to place their vote. Thank you. There, but you should now be able to place your votes. Councillor Norris, are you able to place your vote, or would you like to do it verbally? Oh, actually, it's just come through. Thank you. So, Chair, that the voting is 21 in favour and 13 against.
Thank you. So, Councillor Morley is duly appointed co-chair of Joint Appointments Committee. That's it for that. So, I think we can now move on to item 11. Right, so item 11, MC/21/4, appointments to outside bodies for the 2021-22. I refer you to Appendix A in the tabled papers. I would like to invite the leader to introduce paper MC/21/4 and move the recommendation in the report. Councillor Morley?
To present this report. I don't think there's anything much for contention on here, apart from there's obviously two items, the East West Rail Consortium and the Haven Gateway Partnership, where there are two nominations. My feeling is that both of these roles are portfolio holder roles, and therefore both should be Councillor Brewster. I noticed that Councillor Scarf is nominated as a sub on the Haven Gateway Partnership, which I do find a bit surprising because in January, Councillors Eburn, Wellham, Scarf, Pratt and Morrison all voted to withdraw from the Haven Gateway Partnership as they felt that they could not demonstrate value and relevance. And so I do feel that having somebody that really believes in this business partnership, especially given the strategic importance of it to both our Gateway 14 development and to the wider Freeport East, is absolutely crucial to our council. And in view of the strategic importance I place on it, I'm happy to stand as sub for that outside body. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder for that?
If I can ask for seconders, thank you.
Is that Councillor Brewster? Thank you. Are there any amendments? Councillor Eburn?
Thank you, Chair. If I may ask a question. And firstly, just to say the reason I voted against the partnership at the January meeting was because of the complete lack of information and the uncertainty of the member that was on that, had that appointment, in not understanding or not appreciating what that entailed and how much it was and so on and so forth. And the fact that when he'd gone to the scrutiny committee, he'd recommended we not be on it. So the fact that there wasn't enough information at that meeting at that time. But my question is, given with this item coming forward now, will the leader show how she is going to extend a greater spirit of working together than has been shown so far in this evening's meeting, given that the councillors, the hard-working and dedicated councillors sitting on this side of the chamber that represent half of our residents have so far been sidelined with regards to even vice chair positions on the committees? Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Morley, do you accept the amendment? Oh, it's a question. Oh, could you respond to that?
I can't say that I've got anything extra to add to that. It is what it is.
Okay. Councillor Wellham? Councillor Wellham, is this a question or an amendment that you're proposing?
I'd like to propose an amendment to the list of... So used to wearing it, sorry. I'd like to propose an amendment to the list of appointments to outside bodies. I propose that a member of Mid-Suffolk District Council be appointed as an observer at meetings of the trustees of the Mid-Suffolk Citizens' Advice. All right.
We did have a second, which was Councillor Brewster.
That's okay. I propose that a member of Mid-Suffolk District Council be appointed as an observer at meetings of the trustees of the Mid-Suffolk Citizens' Advice. This was a recommendation to the Council from the Mid-Suffolk Overview and Scrutiny Committee, where it received cross-party support. Making this appointment was agreed at the January full Council earlier this year, where it received cross-party support. Such an appointment would put Mid-Suffolk back in line with Babergh District Council, who appoint an observer to Sudbury and District Citizens' Advice. Thank you.
Councillor Wellham, do you have a seconder? Councillor Scarf? Okay.
I'd be very happy to second Councillor Wellham's amendment I think we do deserve an observer status at Mid-Suffolk CAB. Indeed, when Mid-Suffolk CAB came to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, they actually were quite happy for us to have an observer on that committee. As Councillor Wellham pointed out, this was passed by both the committee and council, and I think it is high time that we had an observer on this body. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Scarf. Councillor Morley, do you accept the amendment?
Thank you, Chair. No, I do not accept the amendment. At the committee meeting, full council in January, where this was discussed, it was agreed that it would go to Cabinet for discussion prior to a decision being made, and that will be coming up very shortly.
Thank you. Oh. Okay. Okay, so we can now move into debate on the amendment. Who would like to start? Yep. Councillor Otten. Yes.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Before I start, I cannot contain myself to say how very disappointed I am that this council is not adopting what might be considered best practice by actually at least involving some members of both parties within this council. I'm afraid I just had to get that off my chest. I would like to support the amendment. It seemed to me when the report from Overview and Scrutiny, there were a considerable number of members who felt that it was very important that this council had an observer on Mid-Suffolk Citizens Advice Bureau. We all know the amount of work that the CABs have had to deal with over the pandemic situation, people losing their jobs, having to claim for benefit. And I really feel that it's important that we have a direct person there to support and report back to exactly what they are having to cope with. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Otten. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? If not, then I would ask the Councillor Wellham and Councillor Morley if they wish to add anything further. Councillor Wellham? Please, Councillor Morley.
Yes, I will just add a couple of other things. We do place really high importance on the work that the Citizens Advice Bureau do. It is not that we do not wish to have an observer on there. We already have several of our colleagues who are represented on there, and I myself, together with Councillor Flatman and Councillor Haddingham, have been to meet with them and discuss with them, and our officers have regular meetings with them, so we know exactly what's going on there and the issues that they face. This is not about us not valuing the work that the CAB does. This is absolutely about finding the right way of getting that discussion and engagement. And an observer has no status on there and can make no decisions and can make no judgments. So I am really confident that the work that our officers do, together with myself, Councillor Flatman for Communities and Councillor Haddingham for Housing, we have the knowledge and we can work better with them through our officer mediums.
Councillor Wellham?
Thank you, Chair. I'm really surprised. I cannot believe that this cannot be accepted. Officers and councillors whose names the leader has mentioned do not have a remit to report back to council. If we had an observer appointed by council, then they would report back. Members of the administration who represent wards within Stowmarket supported this at overview and scrutiny, and I believe also at council, where it was agreed that this was the proper way forward. If this amendment is not supported, what sort of message does that give back to the manager at Citizens Advice in Stowmarket? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I will now ask the Corporate Manager for Governance and Civic Office to conduct a vote on the amendment.
Thank you, Chair. So we are voting just on the amendment here, and that is to appoint an observer to Mid-Suffolk Citizens Advice. That vote is now open if councillors would wish to place their vote. Thank you. Chair, can you make sure you vote as well, please?
It hasn't. Oh, right, here we go.
Councillor Hicks, are you having problems? Against, thank you. Chair, that is a tie, 17-17. Would you like to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I will, and I will be casting it against.
Okay. That is lost. That amendment is lost.
Okay, so, so the amendment is lost, and we go back to Councillor Morley's recommendation. What's the next?
Yeah, so Chair, when it comes to this, because we've got 2 nominations for the East West Rail Consortium and 2 nominations for the Haven Gateway Partnership, I will take those 2 outside bodies separately, and then lastly we'll take the rest of the paper on block. So the first vote will be for the East West Rail Consortium, and the first vote is for Councillor Brewster. And then once that's carried out, if it's a tie, we will then go to Councillor Mansell. So the first vote is for Councillor Brewster to be appointed to as the representative on the outside body East West Rail Consortium. That vote is now open. That is a tie, so we will go to the second vote. The vote now is for Councillor Mansell to be appointed as the representative on the outside body of the East West Rail Consortium. That vote is now open. Thank you. Chair, that is a tie. So again, do you wish to exercise your casting vote?
I do, and that will be in favour of Councillor Brewster.
Okay, Councillor Brewster, that is carried for Councillor Brewster then. We now move on to the Haven Gateway Partnership, and we have had 2 nominations for the substitutes. We've got Councillor Morley and Councillor Scarf. We will then again do 2 votes. So the vote for Councillor Morley as substitute is now open if councillors would like to place their vote. Thank you. Councillor Brewster, are you able to place your vote? No? It's still not showing, Councillor. Would you like to place it verbally? Thank you. Chair, that is a tie, so we will go to the next vote, which is Councillor Keith Scarth as the substitute on the Haven Gateway Partnership. That vote is now open if councillors would like to place their vote. Councillor Brewster, are you having problems again? Can I take your vote verbally then, please? Against. Councillor Stringer, are you also having problems? And Councillor Richardson? Okay. So again, Chair, that is a tie. So do you want to exercise your casting vote?
Yes, I do, and that will be in favour of Councillor Morley.
Okay, Chair, that is carried.
Super, thank you. Do we go back to the paper now?
So Chair, we now move to the vote for the rest of the remaining paper where the placings are tabled. If councillors would like to now exercise their vote for the rest of the paper, that vote is now open. We have still got quite a lot of councillors that haven't yet voted. Yes, so it is, the vote is at the top in blue, so if councillors could look at the top. Does it? Sorry? Yes, the rest of the paper as tabled. Okay, Councillor Field, are you having problems or? Okay, can I take your vote verbally? Against? Councillor Matheson, are you having problems or is it just being slow? Oh, you have now voted actually, Councillor. And Councillor Warboys, we're still awaiting your vote. Okay, the results are in. It's 18 for and 14 against, 2 abstentions, Chair. So that is carried.
That is carried. We shall now move on to item number 12. This is the appointment of councillors to the Shared Revenues Partnership Joint Committee. The nominations have been tabled. Could I have a proposal? Councillor Morley. And could I have a seconder? Councillor Brewster. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now open. If councillors could place their vote. Thank you. Councillor Phillips, are you able to place your vote? No. Would you like to give that verbally? Against? And Councillor Guthrie, are you also having problems? Four. Okay. So we have, the vote is 19 for, 14 against and 1 abstention.
That is carried. So now to item number 13, appointment to the Suffolk Joint Standards Board. The nominations have been tabled. Could I have a proposer? Councillor Morley? And could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Brewster? I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote has now gone blue, and if you can place your votes, that would be great. Thank you. Councillor Wellham, are you having problems? Oh. Have you posted it? Okay, Chair, that is 31 votes for, 2 against and 1 abstention. Thank you.
That is carried. Move on to item 14. This is appointments to the Joint Gypsy and Traveller Steering Group. Council is asked to appoint 4 councillors to the Joint Gypsy and Traveller Steering Group. The nominations have been tabled. Please, could I have a proposer? Councillor Morley, and could I have a seconder? Councillor Brewster? Okay. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. So the vote for the appointments to the Joint Gypsy and Traveller Steering Group is now showing in blue. If you could place your votes, please. Thank you. Okay, would you like to? Voting for. Lovely, thank you. Councillor Byrne, are you able to vote, or would you like to do your vote verbally? Oh, absolutely, it's just come through. Okay, so that, Chair, is votes 33 for and 1 against.
That is carried. So we move on to item number 15. Appointments to council working groups. Council is asked to appoint councillors to the following working groups as tabled: Community Governance Review Working Group, Constitution Working Group, Member Learning and Development Working Group, and Local Plan Working Group. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Morley? A seconder? Councillor Brewster? Excuse me. I will now ask the Corporate Manager, Governance and Civic Office to conduct the electronic vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now showing in blue. If you could cast your votes. Thank you. Councillor Phillips, oh, actually he's not here, so it's the vote is 33 for, so actually Councillor Phillips is not here to do his vote, but they're still carried by a fair majority, Chair.
Okay, so that is carried. Now we shall move on to item number 16. This is report MC/21/5. Overview and Scrutiny Committee Annual Report 2020-21. I'd like to invite Councillor Wellham to introduce his report, which is for noting.
Thank you, Chair. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to read through the annual report. I'd just like to thank all of the members of the committee who took part in these reviews throughout the year. It was a rather odd year because we started the year just as COVID was coming in. We had very few meetings. We've only just had the first meeting face to face this morning. But I'd like to thank all of the committee staff as well, and all of those who have presented reports and taken part, officers who have taken part in our meetings. So I'm happy to answer questions, if there are any.
Thank you, Councillor Wellham. Are there any questions for Councillor Wellham? Councillor Bansal?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'd just like to ask Councillor Wellham if he feels that during the past year, the recommendations of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee that have been recommendations for Council, such as the consideration of an observer on the Citizens Advice Bureau, have been followed through in a timely and appropriate manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mansell. This was something which cropped up at our meeting this morning, that the committee feel they get very little feedback from Cabinet or Council, and we would like to discuss ways of getting better feedback. And of course, I'm very disappointed, particularly in that recommendation, and even more so because there are some sitting here today who voted for an observer on that occasion in committee and have voted against it today. So that is very disappointing.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Councillor Wellham? Okay, Councillor Wellham, do you have anything else to say? Are you done?
I'm finished, thank you.
Okay, super. Thank you, Councillor. That report was for noting only, so we shall now move on to item number 17. This is MC/21/6, Overview and Scrutiny Committee Work Plan for 2021-22. I would like to invite Councillor Wellham to introduce his report, which is for noting.
Great deal to say about that. It's part of the annual report, and clearly you can see that there are some gaps, and it will be for the new scrutiny committee to complete the work plan at its next meeting, or at least to start to fill some of those gaps. And I'm very open to hearing from any member of any topic that you feel that that scrutiny could usefully have a look at. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Wellham. Are there any questions for Councillor Wellham? Councillor Eburn?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Wellham, for your report. One of the issues that's come up a lot recently, and well, forever, as far as I'm aware, is that of rural transport. And would it be possible for scrutiny to have a look at that and to assess how local residents are able to get to work, to college, to doctor's appointments and so on? It's something that came up a lot to those of you who were in the workshops on last week. It came up in lots of different ways there. And so is it possible for that to go on the work plan, or at least be considered for that? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Eburn. Yes, just this morning we did discuss the possibility of adding to the work plan a review of rural transport, and also a review of the way that this council delivers services to the rural community. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Councillor Wellham? If not, thank you very much, Councillor Wellham. That report was for noting only. And I'd like to thank Council for their forbearance during this whole evening's proceedings. And please note that the date of the next meeting is Thursday, the 22nd of July at 2021 at 5:30 p.m. and formally close the meeting at this point. Thank you all very much.